One morning in Kansas City in February of 2014, I was sitting in my office and I got a call from a 713 number. It was Tom Pace from St. Luke's Methodist, basically saying, we've got this deal going on. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We just want to start something new. And we want you and Gio to come talk to us about it. We moved our family here in July of 2014. And we really started to get to work on growing a team of people that we called the launch team. And during that time, we had a lot to figure out. What kind of church are we going to be? What's our mission going to be? What's our name going to be? Well, we ended up calling this place The Story because we really believe that the Bible itself is a story God is telling. And it's one big, beautiful, perfect story of God's love and salvation. By February of 2015, we had our first official worship service.
I felt really strongly that God was leading us in the right direction to start a church that was going to reach non-religious people.
For 9 months, we were worshiping in the gym every Sunday at 11 o'clock. Every single weekend, we had to set up this giant stage and 2 giant screens and 300 chairs. To work that hard and to really have more humble beginnings really shaped our community in some pretty powerful ways. A year later, we moved into this building and we just kept growing, and now we've got these 4 services every Sunday.
All creatures of our God and King.
There's something, I think, truly unassuming about the Story's approach to worship, and Nathan and the band and Haley, they've just really captured an honesty and sincerity. They're not pretending, and I think that comes through.
People have freedom to worship God as they see that they should worship God. Part of our vision is to make sure that everybody plays a part in the story that God is telling through the story. And we want to empower people to do ministry in the way that they want to do ministry. And that's how our teams have expanded.
Good morning. I'm extremely grateful to be here in front of every one of you this morning.
Since we began, it's been a priority of ours to tell stories, and not just me. People live and in person, coming on stage in front of everybody and telling some story about some dramatic season of their life.
I was exchanging my body in order to get drugs.
I did my best to intervene as my father attempted to take the life of my mother.
You see this person who's lived through this heartbreaking, awful thing, and there they are. They're standing there resolute. They made it through. And the next time you're going through something heartbreaking and awful, you remember that story, and it gives you some strength and some hope.
God never forgot about me. He took something bitter and he made it so sweet.
The most special moments that I can remember over the last 3 years had to do with the water of baptism, the people I had the privilege of baptizing. And I remember every one. It's one of the greatest privileges of a pastor's life. The most difficult thing we've been through in the last 3 years has been Hurricane Harvey.
We're live here in Houston, where Harvey's rains keep coming. The waters keep rising.
Immediately, the Story people started converging on houses and mucking houses for total strangers.
They just showed up, and by the end of the next day, everything was done. I can't even tell you how that made us feel. Bob and I just wept. I mean, I've never been so grateful in my life for the kindness of strangers.
I felt that it just symbolized just the transformation that's happening inside of all of our hearts through Jesus, that we were able to just be so self-sacrificial.
My most profound and favorite moment here at The Story would be standing on the stage with the Cajun Navy, who loved coming to church here while they were serving our city. And to see this congregation give back in so many ways, gosh, it was amazing.
Church for us doesn't just happen on Sunday. It happens throughout the week. People are connected to chapters, to our Bible studies, to our teams. And every single day of the week, they are not only serving each other, but they are serving other people in our community in Houston and even beyond through our mission teams.
There's something about being at Church Under the Bridge and seeing people from The Story, many of whom had no faith to speak of, as recently as weeks or months ago, giving anything they can possibly give of themselves to help some of our brothers and sisters on the streets in Houston. That, to me, is church. I got one more song I want us to sing. Is that all right?
Yeah, let's sing.
I think one of our unspoken core values at the story since we began 3 years ago has been to take God and the Bible and Jesus very seriously without taking ourselves too seriously. I think Jesus laughed a lot with his disciples and talked about setting us free. And when you're free, you laugh, you're joyful about your freedom. And so I think that's part of our culture here. And I really enjoy that about the story.
What I've seen is that as we bond as a community, as people get to know each other, they want to be with each other. But when they're here together worshiping, then they're bonded by something even greater. They're bonded by the love of God.
Well over 1,000 people total are calling the Story Houston home now in just 3 years' time. And I have just been blown away. It's connected to my own faith and feeling like in that past season of my life when I was just going through the motions before I really believed in Jesus and accepted him, I feel like then I was faking. And I can't believe that God would bless somebody that faked it for that long. Every time I'm here, the first thing on my mind is that I don't deserve this place. I do not deserve these people around me. And I don't deserve to be working in ministry every day with my best friend and my wife. And it's an overwhelming blessing.